heart stop, I can make your bed rock. Anything you want, love, we gon' be on top. One for the road, 5 night in a row. Cup of tea. That's fucking good, man. Hello mates, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be doing an updated version of a video I made about this time a year ago. I'm going to be trying to do something incredibly difficult, and that is ranking my tattoos from my least favourite to my favourite. So I currently have, I think, 29 tattoos. I think that's the number that I settled on. And I've been getting tattooed for 9 years. Obviously, this has been an absolutely mammoth task because I really love pretty much all of my tattoos, although I do have a couple of stinkers, as I'm sure we all do, that I would really like to sort out at some point. I felt pretty dirty, to be honest, when I was putting this list together because it's literally like trying to choose between death by cats or death by dogs. Like, they're both good options, so I really went back and forth on what was going to take the top spot. But enough messing about, let's fucking get into it, shall we? Pretty much all of my tattoos, by the way, have been done by Joey Salvage, who works out of Magic Tattoo in Brighton, although a handful of them have been done by Aaron Fitchett, who works out of Gold Irons Tattoo, which is also in Brighton. So at number 29, we have this crappy little rose that I have on my ankle. I talked a fair bit about this one in previous videos. It's a regret. I'm going to cover it up. After I finish this sleeve, I think that's going to be my next priority. Fortunately, no one ever really sees this one because I keep it covered up with long socks. This one was a stupid mistake when I was younger. We've all been there. Let's move on. Okay, number 28. That would have to be this Hebrew script that I have on my chest. I hope, because I was one of those people who got a tattoo in a language that they cannot read or speak, I hope this says, "You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be." It's my favourite line from my favourite song, which is great. What's not so great is the fact that it's in Hebrew and the fact that it's getting in the way of me getting my full front done, so I will be getting it covered up at some point when I get my chest done. This one was my first ever tattoo. It was done when I was 18 by this really, really creepy scratcher. And as you can guess, I'm not the biggest fan of it anymore. Number 27, that is going to be this pin-up girl that I have here on my bicep. This was originally done by the previously mentioned scratcher who did my chest script. He did a truly awful job, as can be expected from a scratcher, so after dealing with it for the best part of 2 years, I got it reworked by Aaron Fitchett, who tried his best to make it look more traditional and to fix her wonky face. But there's only so much he could do. I of course wish that I got a decent pin-up girl tattoo in the first place, but at that point I was too young and ignorant to know what made a good tattoo artist, so therefore I'm left with this polished turd instead. I do think Aaron did a really good job considering what he had to work with, and I'm forever grateful that I don't have to walk around with the old tattoo. Okay, so now we get into the difficult territory, because from this point onwards, I really actually like all my tattoos. Next up, at number 26, is this little star that I have on my bicep. Not much to say about this one. It looks great, but at the end of the day, it's just a little filler tattoo, you know? This was the last tattoo that I got on this sleeve that finished off my arm, so actually I think quite fondly of this one. Number 25 is going to be the True Love heart that I have here on my wrist. This one is great. It's a classic piece. I did have a different design in mind, which I still kind of wish that I pushed for more, but I still think what I ended up with is pretty fucking great. Next up at number 24 would have to be this clipper ship that I have on my forearm. I love clipper ship tattoos. They're a classic old school navy tattoo, and it hurts me to put this one so low on this list, but I just love so many of my other tattoos more. At number 23 is going to be this broken arrow that I have here in my ditch. This is just a little filler tattoo that I kind of wanted to match the one that I had on the other side. Again, I love it. I just love my other ones more. Then at number 22 is going to be this Bible dripping blood that I have on my wrist. I've covered this one extensively in some of my other videos. I think it's a really cool image. Wrist tattoos fucking hurt. Like, I was shocked by how much this hurt. It was totally worth it though. At number 21, I've then put the flower filler that I have on my ditch. Just a cool little gap filler that I got fairly early into getting this sleeve done. I think it looks pretty fucking sick. Then at number 20 is going to be the heart that I have on my bicep that says mum. Obviously this tattoo means a lot to me. I'm a really big fan of my mum, but in terms of designs, I just have other designs on my body that I prefer. Number 19 is going to be the anchor that I have on my bicep above the mum tattoo. I really love the placement of this. It fits really well between the pinup girl and the mum heart. I also love the colours of the tattoo, and again, it's a really classic sailor design. Okay, number 18 is going to be the yellow flower that I have on the back of my bicep. I really love how this one filled the gap that I had back there. It was quite an awkward little gap, and Joey did a really great job to fill it as well as he did. At number 17, we have another sailor tattoo, this swallow that I have here on my forearm. I love the meaning of the swallow tattoo. It represents the idea of returning home, and I think Aaron Fitchett did a pretty fucking sick job with it. Next, at number 16, is this little axe that I have here on my wrist. Again, this was just a little gap filler. It's the tattoo that I have that's kind of the most on show, because even when I'm wearing long sleeves, it just kind of pokes out and people still notice it. I think it looks great. I love the background that Joey added around it, and I think it's just a really cool little gap filler tattoo. At number 15, we have the boxer and the rose that I have on the back of my bicep. I love old school boxer tattoos so much, so I had to get one. I unfortunately never get to see this one though and end up forgetting it is there. But when I do see it, I'm reminded of just how sick it is. Then at number 14 is the number 13 that I have on my elbow here. 13 is my lucky number, and I thought it would just look really cool on my elbow, and it's then got these swirly lines around it to fill out the rest of my elbow. Next up at number 13 is going to be the TCB tattoo that I have here on my bicep. I think this one is just such an iconic image. You'd see it a lot on rockers' arms back in the day. If you don't know, TCB is actually Elvis's motto, and it was the name of his backing band. It stands for taking care of business. My grandmother also really loved Elvis, which only increases my connection to this image. Then at number 12 is going to be the Gretsch guitar that I have here on my forearm. The Gretsch is my favourite looking guitar in the world. It's a proper rockabilly guitar. Then at number 11 is going to be the eagle that I have in my elbow ditch. Everybody loves traditional eagle tattoos. I think it filled the gap above the guitar really nicely, although it did actually hurt like a little bitch when Joey was going over my ditch. That shit felt so hot. It was proper spicy stuff. Little swig of tea, wet the whistle. Okay, now number 10 is going to be the greaser that I have on my forearm. I love 1950s imagery and grew up really drawn to photos of old school greasers, and I think Aaron Fitchett, who did this tattoo, did a great job on this one. I especially love how well it caps off the end of my arm. Okay, now number 9 is going to be the butterfly that I have that's just sitting over my funny bone. Again, this one was just a cool little gap filler. It was one of the last tattoos that I got to fill out this sleeve. And although it felt really fucking gross having the needles grind up against my funny bone, I absolutely love the placement of this one. It worked out really fucking well. Next, at number 8 is going to be this massive cobra that I have on my inner bicep. I love how much black is in this and how well it contrasts with the yellow. This one wasn't particularly pleasant to get. I mean, the inner bicep is not the most fun place to get tattooed, but I'm really happy with it. Then at number 7 is going to be these massive coffin nails that I have on the front of my bicep. I had such a long and awkward gap here, and these filled out the space so nicely. This is one of the tattoos that my eyes are most drawn to when I look in the mirror. I just love it so fucking much. At number 6, we have this dagger going through a heart on my forearm. This one's just a really cool little gap filler tattoo. Again, I had a really awkward gap here, and I think this just filled the space so well. I really love this one. Now we get into the top 5, which was a massive pain to try and settle on, but this is what I eventually came up with. At number 5 is the lady head that I have on the top of my right arm. I love this one. I love the rose in her hair, the colours. I've said it before, but Aaron Fitchett is the lord of the lady head tattoo. Then at number 4 is going to be the panther head that I have below the lady head. I think this one just looks so hard. I don't know how else to describe it. I love how well it pairs with the lady head and how much love and care Aaron put into making sure that they sat together really well. Then at number 3 is the mermaid that I have on my right outer forearm. I love the contrast between the black shading in the scales and the colours throughout the rest of the tattoo. I think the placement is great. I wanted this tattoo in this placement for literally years before I got it, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Okay, we get on to the final 2. So at number 2 is going to be the eagle that's sitting on a skull that I have here on my wrist. This is a piece that I picked off of Joey's Flash that I'd seen about a year before I got it, and I just kept coming back to. It's just such a simple little image, but I think it's really fucking cool. And I think what really makes me love it so much is the placement. It just fits my wrist so perfectly. Which means we have at number 1, and therefore my favourite tattoo, this Sailor Jerry Navy Girl. It was seeing this piece of Flash on someone else many years ago that made me first fall in love with traditional tattoos and want to get sleeves. I think for this reason it will always be right at the top of my list when it comes to my favourite tattoos, as this is really what started the journey off for me. Right, so those were all of my tattoos ranked from my least favourite to my favourite. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like and hit the subscribe button and all that other YouTube bollocks for more nonsense like this. If you like the music that you're hearing in the background, it was actually all produced by me. I have another channel where I post beats / instrumentals that I've made for singers to write songs to, so if that is something you're interested in, I'll post a link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.